Hello guys, Omni here. I just got finished watching Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge. This is the latest film from WB Animation, who does a lot of the DC animated films that I've really come to enjoy over the past couple of years. This is the latest iteration, latest product they put out here in partnership with NetherRealm Studios, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. We've talked about it a little bit here on the channel before. I've reacted to a couple of the trailers they've released leading up to the release of this film, and I've said some things that I kind of misunderstood from an interview. I'm going to go ahead and clear that up right now before I get into my thoughts on the actual animated film itself. So previously in the reactions, I had misunderstood an interview and thought that this film was going to take place in the rebooted timeline that was set up at the end of MK11. Not the case. Completely its own timeline, its own version of the characters, its own lore that it's going to be proceeding with in what may be a Mortal Kombat animated cinematic universe. So who knows where this is going to go from here. But I gotta say, for something that kicks off with the WB logo and Daffy Duck hip-hopping around doing his Looney Tune gag, it immediately jumps right into a gore fest. Completely 180s, and it's amazing. This film is an anatomy lesson. There's a lot more gore than I really expected, and maybe that's just because I was like, oh, this is WB Animation. I don't expect them to push it really that hard for something like this. So they're putting out, having done a lot of the DC stuff, which they did kind of push some of the limits in those, but this takes it to a whole other level. They take the X-rays into account. There's so much just viscera throughout this film, and it's really well constructed, well paced, well animated, and voice acted. There are honestly very few complaints that I even have with this, and honestly, I can't really think of any. I'm sure they exist. This isn't perfect, but my lord, it is so close. I feel like the team that makes these films, because it's the same group that's make a lot of the recent DC stuff, has been very tight, compact, and efficient with the way they pace and structure the storytelling, and it develops our characters. It develops Scorpion, who is obviously the title character of this film, has a large part to do with this storyline, but it does not sideline our core characters that we know from the games. You know, Liu Kang, Raiden, Sonya Blade, and Johnny Cage. This is still a retelling of the first tournament that we were introduced to, the 10th tournament, the one that is like, this is it, Earthrealm, or Shao Kahn's taken over. We gotta win this one. They won 9 in a row. You know, we're still getting that storyline, but there's a lot of context added around this, and they play with it really well. It's really well constructed. I really like what they've done with the characters in this iteration. It is very Scorpion focused, and that's not surprising given the atmosphere around the character, not just publicly, but within NetherRealm itself. He has become their logo. There's a lot of favoritism going on there, and he gets a lot of love in this. And it does not end. I'm going to say, if you've played the games, you know, they've done this story a lot. We've seen different iterations of it. We've seen the movie make an attempt. We've seen web series take a shot at the first tournament. This is something we've seen. And even recently in MK9, it's just been retold. And this is yet another retelling of that. And it's still different. There's still twists and turns that this takes that are both familiar, but still interesting and well handled enough to still make it thrilling. I thought this was a really fun watch. I thought it was really hilarious, and it was intense. It was a lot more intense than I thought it would be, like I said, and I highly recommend it. I like a lot of the stuff that this studio puts out, and if you like Mortal Kombat, if you're interested in just checking it out, I highly recommend this. I think it just came out this week. From what I'm aware, I bought it on digital because, you know, self-quarantining and all that. And I just finished watching it today, this afternoon, and just had to get my thoughts out on it. This was a lot of fun. The fights are very well animated, choreographed, and just visually just appealing. I really think this was a top-notch product that they put out in this name. And I would like to see, because I don't know, like with a lot of these things surrounding Mortal Kombat, the way everything ends always kind of sets up something else, something new. So I'm hoping to see a follow-up to this. And I think we very well likely might be, especially since the DC animated universe that they've been building over the past couple of years is finally coming to an end with the what was it, Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, once that comes out, which I'm really looking forward to that. That's putting the close, from what I've heard, is putting a bookend on that series. And who knows, they might be changing the direction and partnering up with NetherRealm to maybe start as their next venture for the next couple of years to expand this Mortal Kombat line. I don't know. I'd really be interested to see what they do with it. They had a lot of fun with this, a lot of creative liberties they took into it with building out their own version of these characters and worlds. And they did a really good job. So that's about all my thoughts on this. If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts, because I'd really like to know what you guys thought, so we can carry on that conversation after the video. Let me know. We'll talk about it. I really like Mortal Kombat. It was honestly one of the first video games I ever played was MK2. I played MK1 in the arcade, but I've had MK2, and then I've had every Mortal Kombat game since then. Honestly, I was way too young to have that game, but my parents didn't know any better. Video games can't be bad, but the innocent times I was born in. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I want to know your thoughts, so sound off down in the comments. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care, everybody.